she's literally one in a billion. Miss Universe India, Rhea Singha.
Miss Universe India.
Welcome to the show.
This is my first podcast.
Miss Universe India બન્યા પછી લાઈફ કેવી રીતે ચેન્જ થઈ?
બહુ ચેન્જ થઈ ગઈ in ways that I didn't know.
The way you carried that costume, golden bird statue with that power and grace.
What better than a golden bird to represent our country?
So the kind of depth that we have, right? We were really a golden bird. We controlled 25% of the world economy.
I think India, ji logo ne, they've not even discovered it. People haven't seen India enough.
Look at what's happening in Kumbh.
Exactly. Look at it. It's incredible.
Do you ever feel the magnitude of that title?
I don't let it get to me.
After this title, what happens?
So once you win Miss India, the girls are expected ki
Again, going back to that video that you took at the age of 15, કે હું મોટી થઈને આ વિડિયો જોઈશ અને હું ત્યારે જોઈશ when I become somebody.
When I watch this, I want to be 10 times more successful, 10 times bigger than who I am.
So you went to Mexico for this. Who sponsors all this? Do you support your own costumes?
Outfits is a huge thing, okay? It's not like child's play at all. It's 3 lakhs per outfit. 3 lakhs, that's a lot. And then I need per day like at least 2 outfits. And it was a good 2 weeks no competition. So you can imagine how much.
Bapre, 50-60 lakhs.
It obviously pays dividends. It's like investing because
course,
then you eventually
yeah.
get the results. You get
I'm
the
sure you're
results
minting
that-
money right now. Do you believe in manifestation?
100%. I don't believe in it. I know.
You know, wow.
Right? I mean, that's how it works.
Gen Zs ne badi જ ખબર છે. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to achieve.
We take ourselves also way too seriously. That's another thought I have.
You mean your generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we think we're something like, you know, I know more than you do.
Okay. અચ્છા એવી ક્યારે feeling આવે છે? You ever feel that?
I'd like to say no.
Right.
I didn't have social media. I didn't have any of that, but still I had that
You're
belief
not on any social media.
before. But then I did. Pachi, I started realizing that actually social media is not a bad thing unless you make it to be.
Are you spiritual?
Very recently, I would say I've become spiritual.
So you played the character of Sita Mata at the first Ramlila that happened in Ayodhya Mandir. How was that?
मैं जो विचार रही थी वो झरा नहोतु. It was very different in the best way possible. I have never done a proper theatrical play. I hadn't even done my dialogues. ये लोग को बस on the spot you have to go. तुम्हारा कान में earpiece है. Everyone, now I'm revealing a little mini secret.
No, please.
They were
So આવે છે offers હમણાં acting ની?
છે અમુક.
છે, okay.
I can't say too much yet. But yes, there are a few.
To wish you the luck for that.
Thank you so much.
And as I said, that I will be the first one to take her interview, right? So what's your skincare routine? If you get one superhero like power, what would you do?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So cool.
You can give some tips on body language. What is that one question that people usually don't ask you in the interviews, but you really want them to ask?
Politics na bare mein na puche. Not that I want them to ask.
What do you think about the current leadership of India in general?
I think it is incredible because
Hello and welcome to this very special episode of my show. Guys, it's a very special episode because the guest is truly very special. You know, આપણી પાસે કોઈ એવું ટેલેન્ટ હોય કે કોઈ પ્રતિયોગિતામાં કોઈ સ્પર્ધામાં આપણે પહેલો નંબર લાવીએ તો ઇટ્સ અ મેટર ઓફ પ્રાઇડ એન્ડ જ્યારે હજારો લોકો પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરતા હોય એ સ્પર્ધામાં અને પછી આપણો પહેલો નંબર આવે ઇટ્સ મેટર ઓફ ઇવન બિગર પ્રાઇડ બટ વોટ ઇફ યુ આર વન ઇન ક્રોર્સ કરોડોમાં એક લાખોમાં એક એવી આપણે કહેવતો કહેતા હોય આજના ગેસ્ટ શી ઇઝ લિટરલી વન ઇન અ બિલિયન યસ ધ મિસ યુનિવર્સ ઇન્ડિયા 2024 રેહા સિંઘા મિત્રો she is the youngest guest that I've had on my podcast. But in terms of achievement, she's one of the biggest. And for me, this is a very, very big podcast because being number one in anything in your country is not a joke. It takes a lot. તો આજે ઘણી બધી આપણે વાતો કરવાના છીએ. મિસ યુનિવર્સ ઇન્ડિયા એ કોમ્પિટિશન હોય છે શું? બ્યુટી પેજન્ટ્સ કેવી રીતે કામ કરે? કેવી રીતે સુપર મોડલ બની શકાય? સુપર મોડલ બન્યા પછી મિસ યુનિવર્સ ઇન્ડિયા બન્યા પછી લાઈફ કેવી રીતે ચેન્જ થાય? અને એ બનવાની જર્ની, એમનું બાળપણ, એમનું ફ્યુચર, એમના વિચારો, એમના આઈડિયાઝ એવી ઘણી બધી વાતો આપણે ડિસ્કસ કરવાની છે. આ એપિસોડ ખૂબ જ જરૂરી છે હરેક એજ ગ્રુપના લોકો માટે, એસ્પેશિયલી ટીન્સ હુ હેવ એસ્પિરેશન્સ ટુ ડુ એનીથિંગ બિગ ઇન લાઈફ કે ક્યાંયથી પણ તમે રહીને કાંઈ પણ કરી શકો. અમદાવાદની છોકરી છે બાય ધ વે. અને પેરેન્ટ્સ માટે જરૂરી છે બિકોઝ દે કેન શો દેર કિડ્સ દેટ એનીથિંગ ઇઝ પોસિબલ ઇફ યુ સેટ યોર માઇન્ડ ટુ વોટ યુ વોન્ટ ટુ અચીવ. અને આજનો એપિસોડ મહદઅંશે ગુજરાતી પ્લસ ઇંગ્લિશમાં અમે વાતો કરીશું બિકોઝ આઈ રિયલી વોન્ટ કે આ ગુજરાતની આ સ્ટોરી, ગુજરાતની આ છોકરી જેને આખા ભારતનું નામ રોશન કર્યું છે, ઇન્ડિયાને ઇન્ટરનેશનલ લેવલ પર રિપ્રેઝેન્ટ કર્યું છે, એની સ્ટોરી વધારેમાં વધારે લોકોને ઇવન સાઉથ ઇન્ડિયા સુધી પહોંચે એની માટે થોડું ઇંગ્લિશનો પોર્શન આ પોડકાસ્ટમાં વધારે રહેશે. સો એની માટે માફ કરજો. લેટ્સ સ્ટાર્ટ. મિસ યુનિવર્સ ઇન્ડિયા રેહા સિંઘા, વેલકમ ટુ ધ શો.
થેન્ક યુ. કેટલું સરસ ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપ્યું તમે મારું. થેન્ક યુ ફોર ધેટ.
આ તો બહુ નાનું ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન હતું. મને એકચ્યુઅલી લોકો કહે છે કે તમે બહુ મોટા ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન આપો છો. કીપ ઇટ શોર્ટ.
ના, આઈ લાઈક ઇટ.
સો હાઉ આર યુ ફીલિંગ ટુડે?
Great. I'm so happy that this is my first podcast. મેં તમારી જોડે જ્યારે વાત કરી ત્યારે I knew immediately કે you're just a very talented person and to speak with you would be honestly it's good luck, honestly. I take it as good luck that this is my first podcast.
No, the honor is all mine. I wouldn't say just pleasure. The honor is all mine. As I told you, even inside that, this is one of the biggest podcasts for me. Very, very proud of what you have achieved, and really a lot of respect for what you have done at this age, right? You've also throughout your childhood, you've always wanted to become a model. You always wanted to win beauty pageants. So we'll talk about that. But before that, I want to ask you કે Miss Universe India બન્યા પછી લાઈફ કેવી રીતે ચેન્જ થઈ?
બહુ ચેન્જ થઈ ગઈ in ways that I didn't know. કેમ કે first pageantry is something that requires a lot of dedication. એટલે તમારે પહેલાં જ સ્ટાર્ટિંગથી જ મહેનત કરવાનું ચાલુ કરવું પડે. કેમ કે you need to prepare yourself કે તમે જો જીતી જાઓ તો તમારે શું કરવું પડશે. એટલે I started working really hard.
જો તમે જીતી જાઓ તો તમારે શું કરવું પડશે? નોટ જીતવા માટે શું કરવું પડશે?
Exactly. That's what you need to start working towards. એ લોકોને નથી ખબર હોતી. They like કે અત્યારે how can I win? અત્યારે હું શું કરી શકું છું? અત્યારે પહેલા જીતી છું પછી જોયું જશે.
અચ્છા.
That's not the way to look at it. The right way to look at it is what is it that I will do when I win? And I think that is what differentiates you from being just a participant and a winner. એટલે I started working જ્યારે હું 15 વર્ષની હતી ત્યારથી જ મેં શરૂ કરી દીધું હતું મારું જર્ની. અને it changed me. I became a lot more equipped with my words. હું વધારે strengthen થઈ ગઈ હતી when it comes to my heart કેમ કે હું બહુ જ thin-skinned person હતી.
Right.
I was very sensitive. કોઈ પણ કંઈ પણ બોલે તો મને બહુ જ લાગી જતું હતું પહેલાં. But now I'm a lot more thick-skinned. I know how to tackle that situation. If anyone says anything, I know what to do.
Wow, superb. I'm sure, and we'll talk about it also, that beauty pageants are no more just about beauty, right? They're about a lot more, about the overall personality, right? When you carry the title Miss Universe India, it's a big title. As I said, કે કોઈ હજારોમાં પણ એક હોય તો બહુ મોટી વાત છે. You are literally one in a billion, right? So, do you ever feel the magnitude of that title? એ ટાઇટલનો ભાર ક્યારે મહેસૂસ થાય?
I don't let it get to me. કેમ કે અગર હું જો એ મારા પાસે આવવા દઉં એટલું બધું તો then it too much થઈ જાય. And you have to stay grounded. તમે જો અગર એ લેવલ પર તમે જાઓ અને then if you start to think of yourself to be somebody, you will never be able to give justice to that title. અને આ ટાઇટલ એકલું એક ટાઇટલ નથી. It is responsibility. અને રિસ્પોન્સિબિલિટી એટલે બહુ કામ આવે અને બહુ જ પાવર આવે તમારી જોડે. એટલે તમારે બહુ જ સંભાળીને યુ હેવ ટુ બી વેરી કેરફુલ હાઉ યુ યુઝ દેટ પાવર એન્ડ જસ્ટ એમ હાઈ. ટ્રાય ટુ રીચ એઝ મેની પીપલ એઝ પોસિબલ. જેટલા લોકોને તમે પહોંચી શકશો એટલું વધારે તમે ઇમ્પેક્ટ ક્રિએટ કરી શકશો.
લેટ્સ ટ્રાય ટુ એક્સપ્લેન ટુ ધી ઓડિયન્સ વોટ ધીસ ટાઇટલ રિયલી મીન્સ. વોટ ઓલ કમ્સ વિથ ધ ટાઇટલ? એઝ યુ સેડ કે ટાઇટલની સાથે ઘણી બધી રિસ્પોન્સિબિલિટી, ઘણું બધું ભાર ને ઘણું બધું કામ પણ આવે. તો શું હોય છે આફ્ટર ધીસ ટાઇટલ? વોટ હેપન્સ?
So once you win Miss India, the girls are expected કે એ લોકો જઈને બહુ જ બધા ઇવેન્ટ્સમાં પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરે. સો દેટ જ્યારે લોકો એમને જોશે, સ્પેશિયલી યંગસ્ટર્સ, આઈ ફીલ લાઈક પેજન્ટ્રી જે જોતા હોય છે સ્પેશિયલી નાના છોકરાઓ અને છોકરીઓ જોતા હોય છે, ગર્લ્સ એન્ડ બોયઝ. એટલે વેન દે લુક એટ અસ પેજન્ટ ક્વીન્સ, દે સી ધેમસેલ્વ્સ ઇન અસ. એટલે વેન વી ડૂ સમથિંગ, જેમ કે આપણે કોઈ ચેરિટી ઇવેન્ટમાં જઈએ તો દે રિયલાઇઝ કે આ એકચ્યુઅલી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ વસ્તુ છે. આ કરવા, this is very important for our day and age so that we can create something.
Right.
કેમ કે if we just keep floating on the superficial, આપણે જો ઉપરની વસ્તુમાં ફ્લોટ થયા કરીશું તો we won't be able to create big differences in the world.
Right.
So that is what pageant queens really do.
Wow. No, it's really interesting the way you have answered this, right? You consider that as a responsibility because now you have become an influencer in real sense, that you can influence the lives of people, you can influence somebody's thoughts. And when actually youngsters get inspired and get motivated by what you do, અને એ વસ્તુનું રિયલાઇઝેશન હોવું કે હું જે કરું છું એની ઇમ્પેક્ટ છે. આઈ સી ઓન યોર સોશિયલ મીડિયા દેટ યુ ઓલ્સો પાર્ટિસિપેટ ઇન લોટ ઓફ સોશિયલ ઇવેન્ટ્સ એન્ડ સોશિયલ કોઝિસ which otherwise I don't see many models or many pageants going there, right? તમે અયોધ્યામાં પણ પરફોર્મ કરેલું, will come to that. I want to understand your journey, right? Right from your childhood, you said that right at the age of 15, right, you started this. So એક તો એટલી એજમાં કોને એવો વિચાર આવે કે મારે કરિયર શું બનાવવું છે? Usually people are struggling even after, clearing their graduations. Even the age of 20, 21, they're still struggling to finalize what they want to do. And at that age, you had that clarity. કેવી રીતે?
So funny you said that, Kimke Amraj, I was actually looking back at my photos and videos, and I went back to the time jare maru 12th grade pati rahu tu, and already I had participated in a teen pageant, પણ clarity નથી કે શું કરવું છે લાઈફમાં, કેમ કે pageantry is not a career. Pageantry is just something you do so that you can reach people and send your message across. I watched that video and I realized it hits you જ્યારે તમે પાછા રહીને જુઓ કે I was so shattered inside, કેમ કે I had no idea મારે શું કરવું છે. I did not know what I wanted to do. And મેં એ વિડીયોમાં એવું કીધું હતું કે I'm so grateful for the parents that I have કે મને એવું ક્યારે એમને ઓછું ફીલ ના કરાવડાયું. I'll show you that video when we get a chance. કે they never let me feel like I was little, કેમ કે I didn't know what I wanted to do. Everybody in my class had started applying. I studied in an international baccalaureate school. So બધા students abroad માટે apply કરી રહ્યા હતા. And I had no idea હું ક્યાં apply કરીશ. University પણ મને નથી ખબર હું ક્યાં apply કરીશ. Leave alone the career. At that time, my dad said, don't go to university, don't do it. Just focus on what you love and everything else will follow. And that moment for me, I created that video because I was like, when I look back, I know I'll make it big. I know, and I know it for a fact that when I watch this video, I will be somebody. And when I watched it, I got goosebumps, really. I can actually cry right now. It was such a difficult period in my life, but those words from my dad changed it for me.
Right. This gives me very interesting perspective. It's not just the child, the kid who needs to have this clarity, but also the parent.
100%.
Right? The parents have to have that clarity that I need to allow my children to do whatever they want to do and have enough faith and confidence in them that they'll do something good. Right? And I'm sure your parents had that confidence in you. I also wanted to ask, કેવું environment જોઈએ, right? If somebody wants to reach where you have, preparation ક્યારથી ચાલુ થાય અને એની માટે ઘરનું વાતાવરણ કેવું હોવું જોઈએ?
I'm so glad you asked, કેમ કે I think બધું જ જે root હોય છે ને, it's in parenting. I was very fortunate કે my parents didn't let me, I just did my thing. એવું નહોતું કે they let me do
Wow.
it.
Good choice of words. Superb.
And that changes a whole lot. કેમ કે when you get the power in your hands, you also get the responsibility with it. જે મેં પહેલા કીધું. When you get the power, you also have the understanding કે એને કઈ રીતે વાપરવાનું. And at a very young age, I started to understand the value of that. And for that reason, I think everybody, especially in India, I find that બહુ લોકોને responsibility આપવામાં નથી આવતી.
નથી આવતી, right?
It's very important કે આપણે, doesn't matter age શું છે, let go, let the child do what they want, and you will see a difference. They will make mistakes. It's not like they're going to be perfect. They're going to do things that you'll be mad at. કે આ કેમ આવું કરે છે? અને સમજ નથી પડતી કેટલું childish act કરે છે. Even my parents found that. Parents are being parents for the first time as well. I'm not saying it's easy for them as well. But they have to. It's just a requirement. અગર એ let go નહીં કરે તો kids will never grow up. બચ્ચાઓ મોટા જ નહીં થાય. પછી શું કરીશું આપણે? પછી બધા મોટા મોટા બચ્ચાઓ ફરતા હોઈશું. We need to all grow up at some point.
Right. No, I'm loving how you're choosing your words. So superb. So your dad had that clarity. I want to go deeper into it. What does he do? એમનું background શું છે?
So he has his own business. My mom also does. So my dad is into IT.
Oh, okay.
He does search engine optimization and all sorts of things. Very, very complicated, but
Exactly the same business that I am in, by the way.
There you go. Don't ask me to describe what it is. No, but it is, of course, business, કેમ કે Gujarati છીએ.
Right.
એટલે that is something that even interests me now. I'm looking at what he does. My sister has also joined into my dad's business. એટલે
Wow.
આવું જોઈને મોટા થયા હોય એટલે પછી મન તો થાય જ.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Again, going back to that video that you took at the age of 15, કે હું મોટી થઈને આ વિડીયો જોઈશ અને હું ત્યારે જોઈશ when I become somebody. વચમાં ક્યારેય નથી જોયો વિડીયો?
I have to grow and do something incredible, and I know I will. I have it in me. and I will do it. When I watch this, I want to be 10 times more successful, 10 times bigger than who I am, and hopefully even more. Hopefully, I know I will.
Nah.
Wow.
Surprisingly not. I mean, I have way too many photos and videos, to be honest. But that being said, I'm glad I looked through. And I'm a big believer of signs. I watched it at the right time. Right after I had come back from Miss Universe, I watched it and I realized that this is just the beginning.
Right.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
આના પછી કેટલું બધું થશે.
Yes.
કેમકે this is what I think and this is my observation. You tell me what you think. Once you start achieving, it's very difficult. તમારે friction હશે. પણ તમે જ્યારે કર્યા કરશો વર્ષો માટે, for decades. Actually, fun fact, tomorrow is going to be half a decade of my being in this career in modeling.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just half decade and look where you have reached.
So, yeah, it's very difficult in the beginning of the career. તમને એવું વિચાર આવશે કે કેમ મને opportunities નથી મળતા, પણ તમારે મહેનત લાગ્યા રહેવું પડશે. You'll have to stay at it. Once you do for enough amount of time, then you'll start to think, આટલું બધું થાય છે આટલા easily? How is that possible? But things just get easier and they get a lot more exponentially faster.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I always keep telling my team, in fact, just ગઈકાલે જ વાત થઈ મારી ટીમ સાથે, that talent does not matter. Even નસીબ પણ કાંઈ નહીં કરી શકે. Your skills, your intellect is of no use if you don't have consistency in what you do. And consistency is what, just keep at it. Just show up every day. Yeah, જ્યારે કાંઈ જ કામ નથી કરતું, when you're, as you said, when you're not getting opportunity, when you're not getting results, when things are not going as you would want to be, but still if you're keeping at it, then someday it will happen. So the key is the consistency.
That is
totally
so
agree.
true. It's not easy though. I mean, કેટલા લોકોને difficult પડતું હોય છે. But that is why successful people are successful people.
કન્સિસ્ટન્સી જરૂરી છે, એનું પણ અવેરનેસ હોવું કે મારે આ કરતું રહેવું પડશે, એનું પણ અવેરનેસ હોવું. આ બધું ઇન્સ્ટાગ્રામમાં રીલ્સ ફરવાની ચાલુ થઈ ત્યાર પછી આવી બધી વાતો થવાની ચાલુ થઈ. બાકી પેલા બધા કોન્સેપ્ટ લોકોને મેનિફેસ્ટેશન કોને ખબર હતી? Nobody knew about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, social media માં બહુ બધા નેગેટિવ લોકો બધી વાતો કરતા હોય છે, પણ this is a positive.
Yes.
So many people now know and people are actually able to get to their dreams because of it.
Right. You know, your generation, you're Gen Z, right? Yes. Yeah, your generation is so self-aware, right? Sometimes મને એવું લાગે યાર તમારી generation ને I'm a little older, right? So I'm millennial. But એવું લાગે યાર Gen Zs ને બધી જ ખબર છે. They know everything about them. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to achieve. If they don't get something, they are still at peace because probably they have more information than we had, when we were young.
Knowing too much is also not a very good thing.
I know.
I think sometimes being in oblivion,
Yes.
कि आ બધું possible. I feel like you don't need so much information. I feel like information overload થઈ રહ્યો છે.
Right.
We need to honestly. I know, like a lot of people ask me this question, like, what's your skincare routine? Pehla I used to overdose my skincare routine. I used to apply so much. But now I use like 1 or 2 products and that's it. And I have the best skin ever. Similarly, I know that's a very weird example to use. but similarly, I think overdose karvano we take ourselves also way too seriously. That's another thought I have. Like,
You mean your generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we think we're something like, I know more than you do.
Okay. અચ્છા એવી ક્યારે ફિલિંગ આવે છે? You ever feel that?
I'd like to say no. But my parents tell me that, sometimes just leaving things, being a minimalist in real life, in your mind, is the most important. Tomorrow room chokho rakho, okay, all good, minimalist bana, but in your mind, first in your mind, then everything else will follow.
Right. I was sitting with a doctor, one of the great oncologists of India, cancer specialist in Mumbai. એમનું podcast કરવાનું હતું. Before that, we were just sitting. And with great sadness, he said, Jay, your generation, you have a lot of physical comforts, right? But mentally, you are overburdened. We had a lot of physical struggles, but mentally, we were so free because more than half of the things that you know right now, we never knew existed.
Correct? Yes, 100% agreed. I think every generation comes with their own pros and cons. Instead of complaining that I will only
Right.
say good things. But yeah, I think the Gen Z, millennials as well, I think we all have a superpower which wasn't there before. But we should also be aware about the fact that good things are good in moderation.
Right. Again, going back to your journey, at 15, you decided that you want to pursue this. બટ ખબર કેવી રીતે પડી કે આ એક્ઝિસ્ટ કરે છે? હાઉ ડીડ યુ ડેવલપ ધી લાઇકલીનેસ ફોર દેટ કરિયર ઓર આઈ વુડ સે દેટ કોમ્પિટિશન? અને અમદાવાદમાં એ બધું ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર સેટઅપ સપોર્ટ એવું બધું હતું કે નહીં? આઈ વોન્ટ ટુ નો દેટ ઇન ડિટેલ.
I was actually against social media. એટલે મને કશી જ નથી ખબર. I won't call it buddhu. Because back when I was a kid, I didn't know anything. I was living under a rock, basically. કશા news ની ના ખબર હોય, what's going on. But my dad, he was like, you know, there's a pageant that's happening, a local pageant, and I think you should participate.
Oh, your dad told you?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad actually told me to participate in most of the things that I did because I didn't really know anything in the beginning until I started to then, which I'll tell you about eventually. So I took part in a local pageant and eventually I was like, wait, આવું બી હોય છે? કેમ કે my parents saw it. They saw it because since I was a child, I actually started modeling when I was in kindergarten.
Acha.
એટલે even they did a little bit of modeling here and there with me. But yeah, क्यों family जीवी છે.
Right.
So we did a little bit of that for fun. એટલે they always knew that she's good in front of the camera. I didn't know that. So when I started, I'm like, and by the way, modeling and pageantry are two very different things.
Two very different, yes.
But they kind of align because
they kind of align.
You know, to be in front of the camera, you have to do certain things that kind of match. So they also thought it was the same thing in the beginning. They were like modeling average, pageantry, same thing. Mokli do. So I was like, wait, I enjoyed it. Camera ni saame aine, stage na lights ni saame. I flourished. It was like pilo suku pan hoy na but tume pani na kho to how it becomes itself. Like that's what it's originally supposed to be. And I discovered कि आज हूँ आ नहीं.
And how old were you then?
I was 15. Yeah. So, and I was always a very late bloomer in everything. But I'm so glad that I took part in this. And I feel like I grew up in my mind a lot because of pageantry. Lokane lage it's all about the looks. It's all about the style and fashion and you know how you go. It's not actually. It's not only that. It's about everything. All rounded તમે person કઈ રીતે બનો છો? A role model. That is what it's all about.
Right.
Now.
પછી પ્રિપેરેશન શું હતી? Was it tough? Was it easy?
Beginning માં નહીં. It was very easy. કેમકે it was a teen pageant, so they take it very easy. Also because અમદાવાદમાં હતું એટલે બહુ જ chill હતું. But of course, it got it started. Ignite થઈ ગયું. It was, I'll tell you what the process was. આપણે પેલા clubs હોય છે ને, આપણે અમદાવાદમાં clubs, not those party clubs.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, no parties, not for 15-year-old. હા, એટલે એક ક્લબની અંદર there was this કે તમે અગર મેમ્બર હો તો તમે પેજન્ટમાં તમને ફ્રી પાર્ટિસિપેશન મળે, સમથિંગ લાઈક દેટ. એક્ઝેક્ટલી તો હવે યાદ નથી. તો આઈ વોઝ લાઈક ચલો જાઓ. એટલે આઈ વેન્ટ અને પછી the process is કે then you have I think it's like a elimination round કે they choose who all get to participate. And eventually they choose the girls and then there are different rounds. Talent round, pachi there is walk round, and then this question and answer, my favorite. એટલે હા એ બધું હોય અને પછી then they select the winners. Bas, it's as simple as that. And the winners then represent their state, then their country.
Oh wow, from the club.
So પહેલા તો બધા જ pageants start out small. પછી એમાંથી જે girls select થાય પછી then the pageant starts to get more heated and difficult.
It's an ecosystem just like sports.
It is an ecosystem.
Right, you play at the school level and then you go higher. Okay.
Actually, funny you said that, Kimki. The first TEDx talk that I gave, ત્યારે I used the example of cricket. I was like, where the younger kids, they would play in their teams, but then MIT, they get selected. So it's a lot like cricket, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife is in cricket, by the way.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's not a player. She's a sports physio.
Oh, wow.
So she has served as the sports physio for the Western Zone cricket team and with GCA for about 5 years.
Incredible.
So I know the process. એટલે મને કીધું યાર ecosystem તો almost similar લાગે છે.
Hats off to her. That's beautiful.
So at that young age, right, you discovered what you like. And then you got the chance also, which happens with very few people. ઘણા લોકોને struggle કરવી પડે even to get a chance. So most of the things were in favor, but I'm sure there would have been a lot of preparations. There would have been a lot of sacrifices. કે અગર તમે કોઈ એક વસ્તુ કરો છો તો ઘણી બધી વસ્તુ તમારે મૂકવી પડે. And especially in this case, when you are participating, in a pageant competition, then you have to leave, a few things that you really like. If you're foodie, then it gets really tough. You cannot expose yourself to harsh environments. I mean, these are all assumptions that we have. I could be wrong. You tell me.
No, you're absolutely right. But the only thing that I would change there is it's not tough. And the only reason why it's not tough is not because it's easy hoy chhe. It's
Right.
because તમને કોઈ વસ્તુથી અગર પ્રેમ હોય,
it's because you want it.
if you really love something,
Right.
nothing is difficult. And I'm not talking just about career. I'm talking about everything in life. Anything that, look at your mom and dad, especially when they're older. I've not had to experience that, but I've seen my grandmother and I've seen how my parents are with them. So it's not easy all the time, you know. બહુ જ એમના different needs હોય છે. It's not easy to have them, but it's not like એમને ઘરથી કાઢી મૂકવાના. Obviously not. We love her. It's not that difficult even to take care of her because there is love, there's compassion. Everything else will follow. Yeah.
At the age of 21, the kind of wisdom and clarity of 20?
Yeah.
Oh, 20, wow. Yeah, so at the age of 20, the kind of clarity, the kind of wisdom that you have, I really wish that we could see this in more people. Right? So hats off to that, by the way. Do you believe in manifestation?
100%. I don't believe in it. I know.
You know, wow.
Right? I mean, that's how it works.
Wow, superb.
No, manifestation is a reality of life. It's not like તમે એમાં believe કરો કે તમે ના કરો. It's a reality for everybody. It's not like if, let's say, you don't believe in it, so it doesn't work for you. If you don't believe in it, then realities are still going to exist. So, for example, if I think કે અહીંયા bottle પડી છે, તો bottle પડી છે. It's not like I'm thinking the bottle is, I hope the bottle is here. It's here. So, I know I am who I am. And that is why I am who I am.
Right.
It's just so simple.
Yeah, it's just like, bottle example was a very interesting one, but, whether you believe it or not, if it's winter, right? So manifestation is going to work. Whether you manifest bad things or good things for you, it will happen.
It is very simple actually. We overcomplicate it. And પહેલા મને actually ખબર નથી પડતી what manifestation is. In case if there's somebody who's watching here and એમને ખબર ના હોય, for them it's manifestation is something that is the reality and you're just noticing it. You're just somebody who's in the room that reality is playing out in. That's all it is. It can be in the future, that self of, but it's still you. If I'm saying, let's say I go back to the time when I was in school, અજી મને ખબર નથી કે Miss India હું બનીશ. I was like, I know કે એ થવાનું, મારા મૂડ બૂડ પર હતું જ કે હું બનવાની છું. Simple.
Were you that confident? Kya થશે જ?
Of course. I
Okay.
knew it.
Wow. No, I find it really, I'm sure, you would have been that confident, but I'm sure a lot of people will find it very difficult to believe ke a clarity hovi. And I think that self-belief, even, Gokesh, who won the, chess title, right, of world champion, right? I saw his video at the age of, I think, 12, 13, he said that I want to be the youngest chess champion in the world. And he was very confident, just like how you said that, I'm going to become one. He was that calm, composed and confident. Not sounding very, bragging or
Cocky about
yeah,
it. Yeah.
And he became, right? I'm sure there would have been support system around him, but because he believed that he could, he did.
Very important that you said that. Support system, believe, those two keywords. Because that is what parenting does, right? And that's why I talked about what I did. Ki parenting na through tamne a belief system bane. Because when you're young, તમે હજી એ નાના બબલમાં જ હોવ છો. I didn't have social media, I didn't have any of that, but still I had that
You were
belief
not
in
on
me.
any social media.
Before. But then I did. Pachi, I started realizing that actually social media is not a bad thing unless you make it to be. And everything
No, but
in
did somebody
moderation
tell
is
you
good.
before that it's a bad thing, or it was your assumption?
Nah, like मैं वो मगज में विचारी रखी थी कि like because I used to see people on their phones scrolling. I was like, what is that? Like, I don't want to be that. But he, like, अपना posture खराब थे जाए, and then they would just be those. And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person who's stuck to the screen. I do use social media a lot these days, but I use it for things that actually can make a difference, that can reach people, not to waste my time. Of course, थोड़ी बार થઈ જતો હોય છે.
What is your screen time right now?
I don't know actually. मैं बंद कर दी because I was too scared to see. Yeah, sometimes I hide away from reality, but I think ignorance is bliss. Remember you said that.
So, somebody asked Elon Musk recently, I saw a video, somebody asked him, what's your screen time? He said, oh, it's crazy. It's going up and up these days. I was like, Elon Musk કેટલા કલાક spend કરતો હશે social media પર? And then the reporter asked him, can we see it right now on your phone? He said, yeah, let's try. So it was like a few minutes in the entire week. Yes, a few minutes in the entire week, and he felt, oh, it's a lot. Right? But then how is he tweeting all the time?
Yeah,
Sometimes-
exactly. That's what I was going to ask. I was like, he tweets quite a bit. Maybe somebody does it for him.
Possible. But the way those tweets are written, I think it's Musk talking, but I feel it could be from laptop
Well, it could
also.
be that he's sitting like this and he's like, write that. And then somebody must be writing it with the way he is. I mean, he's very inspiring. I think he's an incredible individual.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Is almost the government. Now, I remember I was just telling, to one of my colleagues that last year Tesla wanted to enter India. I'm sure we are going to in a
I
different
told
direction.
you before we started that that's going to be.
But that's okay. Let it be. So, last year he wanted to enter, in India with Tesla.
Yeah.
And he had a problem with the government that you need to reduce your tariffs. And government said, no, we cannot do it just for you. Okay, koi fumku lene nathi avyo, right? And it cannot happen just for one person or for one company. He said, no, I will only enter India when it's favorable to me, on my terms. And it's happening now.
Really?
Yes, last night when Trump announced reciprocal tariffs, right? So whatever tax that we impose on them, they are going to impose on us. So now Tesla is going to enter. It's been announced that within 12 months, Tesla will be in India on his terms. Again, the power of manifestation. Coming back to
Yes.
our topic, right? So I must talk about the Golden Bird moment, right? That competition. I'm so proud of you for what you did and the way you carried that costume, Golden Bird statue, with that power and grace. I want to talk about it. શું હતી costume story અને what was that competition all about?
Yeah. So, જેવી રીતે આપણે pageantsના રાઉન્ડની વાત કરી, different pageants have different rounds, but one round that is always there is the national costume. It's where you wear something that represents your country.
Right.
And what better than a golden bird to represent our country?
Let's talk more about that.
Yeah. I think India is equipped with so much. Before the entire world had education, India had education. Before the world had spices, we had spices. Before the world had anything really, language, we had language. And I think that's why we're called the golden bird, because it has everything. It originally had everything. So I think બહુ જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે કે આપણે એ રિયાલિટીમાં રહીએ, કે આપણે જાણીએ આપણું કન્ટ્રીમાં શું બધું છે, લેંગ્વેજીસ કેટલા છે, ખાવાનું વેરાયટી કેટલું છે. That's for a reason. I think એનાથી I would also like to, I know I'm diverging a lot, but
No, please,
I think
it's okay.
This is very important to discuss.
It's important.
People say that India is so messy, India is so this, it's so that. But why is that? કોઈ ક્યારે પૂછ્યું? કોઈ ક્યારે સમજવાની કોશિશ કરી? The reason is because it is such an old civilization. It's been around for so long. અને તમે, let's take Facebook and Instagram for example, or Snapchat or whatever. Facebook has been around for longer than Instagram, right? And I'm sure a lot of Gen Zs are watching here. So that's why this must be...
Do they even know there's something called Facebook?
I don't know what Facebook is. What is that? Yeah, blissfully unaware. But like Facebook, કેટલા બધા એમાં features છે. Why is it so complicated? અમને આવડતું જ નથી Gen Z લોકોને. કેમ? That's because initially when it started out, it didn't have that many features. It was easy to use. That's why I think my parents and the next generation as well, they were able to catch on to it very easily. And પછી નવા features એક બે add કરે એટલે આવડે. But Instagram આવ્યું, very easy. Now that's also getting very many features. The new generation is not going to know how to use it. એ લોકોનું કંઈક જુદું જ AI આવશે, દિમાગમાં વિચારશો and it'll be in the phone somehow. I don't know. Phone બી નહીં હોય. I don't know. It's
Right.
scary to think. But, or it's inspiring. There's two ways to look at it. Similarly, our Indian civilization has been around for so long. So of course there's going to be more complex things. So instead of complaining, look at the beauty of it. Very weird examples I use, don't I?
No, it's you are actually taking me in a direction which is my favorite, right? And now you've just got me started, and I have to discuss this topic, right? The richness of India, right? As you said, our civilization. I've done a lot of spiritual interviews these days, right? I completed a whole series, and during that research, I figured that the Vedas, right, which is typically the user manual of how one should live life, which covers each and every aspect of life, right from birth to marriage to intimate life to children to even death and life after death and even after that, right? It covers everything. Now these Vedas were first documented about 10,000 years back. They were first properly documented. But India is a country which is driven by Guru Shishya Parampara, where these Vedas were transferred from generation to generation by oral traditions. Right, so the guru would speak, and the Shishya would understand and will store, and they will pass it on to the next generation. And that has been happening for about 30,000-40,000 years. So that old our civilization is. And if you look at the depth of it, you look at the dance, you look at Indian dance like Kathak, Bharatnatyam, how intricate those dance forms are, right? You can convey things that you could never convey with any other dance form. You could sometimes not even convey that with words. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be your podcast. I'll just take
Please, I love
2
it.
more
Please
minutes.
go on.
You look at music, right? We have 72 ragas in our music, right? The Carnatic music, which is in its authentic form, is still alive in the South India, where there are 72 ragas. And those ragas have power to change the environment around you. They can actually, get rains. They can actually light up a diya, right? These ragas have that power. So these things were all scientific. It was all figured out. The surgeries were happening in India about 4,000 years back. You look at something as simple as Indian food, right? હું always બધાને કહેતો હોઉં કે ભરેલા રીંગણા બટેટાનું શાક, right? હવે something like that, you take the middlemost particle of that variety, it will still be tasty, right? The taste really, the flavors really penetrate to that particle, right, of everything. And you look at, for example, British food, fish and chips. What is it? Fish and chips. It is so shallow. So the kind of depth that we have, right? We were really a golden bird. We controlled 25% of the world economy. And that is why I'm so proud of you for what you did.
Thank you so much. That is very, very kind. No, I think India, aji loko ne, they've not even discovered it. People haven't seen India enough. And I think it's starting now. As we speak, people are starting to understand.
Look at what's happening in Kumbh.
Exactly. Look at it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think this is just the beginning. Aji to boj thawanu છે. India is on its way. Watch out, everybody.
Right. Now, this century certainly belongs to India. Right. Let's talk more about the costume. Right. Such a grand and graceful and powerful costume that it was, and the way you carried it. Who designed it? What was the story? Any journey શું હતી?
So, actually, Pella, I'll talk about the weight. Oh, it was so heavy. And I'm not a particularly big framed person. I'm a very small frame. And so, Mario per motu costume mukvanu makes no sense. But my the national director, Nikhil Anand, he was like, no, we have to make it so grand that India logo ki yaad reh jaye. And I was like, I love the idea, let's do it. Until I put it on me. And I was like, sir, I can't do this. Please forgive me for whatever. But I can't wear this. He's like, no, you have to. मैं एक જ વાર પહેર્યું અને એમાં so we have to do a photo shoot before because when you go for Miss Universe you don't have any time to do photo shoots there. So તમે જે ઇન્ડિયામાં ફોટો શૂટ કે તમે જે બી કન્ટ્રીમાંથી હો ત્યાં જે તમે ફોટો શૂટ કર્યો હોય that will be used on your social media eventually.
Right.
So मैं પહેર્યું એક વાર and I was like, this is for the photo shoot. तो હું practice ક્યારે કરીશ? He's like, no practice. You will do it. I know. I'm like, okay, I'll do it somehow. And so I put it on and I was falling. I was going back and forth. I think it was almost, I don't know exactly કેટલું weight હતું, but it was almost my weight. Like it was a little less than maybe like 10 kilo મારથી ઓછું હશે. And that's how much
Tough.
it was.
Right.
So it wasn't easy. And it snapped also before. The one time I got to wear it before I went to Mexico for Miss Universe, it snapped. And I was like, this is not going to work. And so it was like, we're going to put it up. It'll happen. And then pachu send bhi karvano hai. So then there's huge boxes. આખા package થઈને જાય અને it's not assembled. એટલે તમારે ત્યાં જઈને assemble
કરવું પડે, right?
And I was like, I don't know how to do screws and this. I've never done this before in my life. And so I'm like, how will I do it? So it turns out, Miss Universe, there are people who help you with it. But I don't trust, how can you trust? Even the random loco karu fix kar se. And you just get to go on the stage for, I don't know, 15 seconds. And that's it. And so if it falls apart, if you fall off the stage, you're done. And so then I'm like, Avisu. Like, oh, kahi nahi. Sidhu chalo. Just keep walking.
Right.
And I did. And kaso feel જ ના થયું. I felt like I could just do it. And I'm not making this up. When I had come off the stage, ત્યારે મારું interview લીધું હતું પેલા લોકો કેમકે they saw how heavy it was. So they were like, can we quickly hear you say what you have to say? I'm like, I felt the power of India. મને એવું ફીલ થયું કે મારી બેક નથી, એ ઇન્ડિયા છે. એ 1 billion people છે જે પકડી રહ્યું છે. And I was just floating. I was just enjoying it.
Wow. Surreal. Superb. What an experience. I was just going to ask that when you really represent India at that stage, as I said, literally 1 in a billion, 150 કરોડમાંથી ખાલી એક જ રેહા સિંઘા ત્યાં સુધી પહોંચી શકે. right? What being Indian means at that stage, right? And you just said that you felt the power of 1.4 billion people.
Still get goosebumps thinking about that, to be very honest with you.
So
Being
that
an
happened.
Indian.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm
sorry.
so
Go on. No, go on, go on.
I was just taking a pause because it's just that much. Being an Indian is not just. I can't even gather my words. એટલું બધું છે to be an Indian. તમે અગર કહી શકો કે તમે ઇન્ડિયાથી છો, તમે કોઈને બી દુનિયામાં વર્લ્ડમાં if you go and tell anybody, everybody knows. That's because that's how much power we have. It's in the vibrations. આપણે જોઈએ, like you talked about the Vedas, you talked about, if we look at the images, બધા ભગવાનના photos જોઈએ, they had like a halo. પહેલા I used to think કે એ લોકો સાચામાં કંઈક લગાવતા હશે, પણ it's the halo. It's just a
Yes,
representation
yes,
of
yes.
how much
The
they can
aura.
radiate, the
Yeah.
aura. Now we can embody that. The secret is in you. That's why ભગવાન તમારી અંદર છે. It's about how much you access that, how much you reach to that તમારા lifetimeમાં. આટલી નાની life છે. Access it real fast, no matter how old you are. તમે એવું ના કહી શકો કે oh, I'm just 10, I'm not going to do it. Access it. You have the knowledge, do it. And you will have that halo around you. People will know. And that's why Indians have that power.
Right, right. And this is real, huh? By the way, this aura thing is very much real. People might feel કે હું કાંઈ પણ બોલું છું અત્યારે, but I've literally seen it, So there are machines which actually measure the geomagnetic energy of any object, which is predominantly used for Vastu, right? When they want to fix the energy of a certain place, right? This machine is used, to just see how active that direction is, or what are the energies beneath. And that expert, right? He showed me how one's aura is mapped. So he takes the machine, right, and puts some metal into it, and the machine opens up. That means there is a positive aura, right? That means you're radiating something which machine is capturing the energy. And then he keeps on, going back and back and back and back. He went about 12-15 feet away and the machine was still open. And then he further went back and the machine started closing down. So he told me your aura is spread across about 15 feet around you. So that is reality. Those chakras and those halos are not for fun or just because somebody felt creative and draw it. Right?
For real. Is that a real machine? I did not know about it.
Yeah, it's very expensive machine which
I'm
really
sure.
maps the geomagnetic energy. Yeah.
Wow, no. That's why they say when celebrities walk into the room, even if they don't have the bodyguards around them, if
Yeah.
they don't have their team with them, you can still like, I'm turned so you will
Yeah.
look, you'll be like,
Yeah.
God are you?
Yes.
You will feel it. They say that about Shah Rukh Khan and
Yeah.
people like them.
Yeah.
They have a very strong aura. Yeah.
Right. So you went to Mexico for this. Who sponsors all this? Once you, मतलब ક્યાંથી કોઈ સ્પોન્સર એન્ટર થાય અને એ જર્ની કેવી રીતે હોય કે who supports you? Do you buy your own tickets? Do you support your own costumes? How does it work?
Interesting you ask me, કેમકે મને આ ક્વેશ્ચન બહુ જ રિસન્ટલી સુધી હતો until I actually participated. ખબર જ નથી પડતી કે શું છે આ. કેમકે when I had initially started off with pageantry when I was 15, ત્યારે I just wore મારા કપડા જે બી મારા ક્લોઝેટમાં હતા મેં પહેર્યા and I was okay. કોઈ વાંધો નહીં કેમકે there were not many people watching either. પણ એક છોકરી હતી who was participating in the Miss category. I was in the teen, she was in the Miss, and I would just observe her. Because at that time I was like, wow. એના lock screen પર Miss World નું crown બી હતું and she was just, I was very inspired by her. So I would watch every move of hers. And she had taken me to her sponsors. She's like, they are my sponsors, and she was just treating me like a little sister. She's like, they're my sponsors, તને મળવા જવું છે? I'm like, okay, chalo, let's go. So I was just watching કે શું થઈ રહ્યું છે અહીંયા. And she was like, આ જે બી મેં કપડા પહેર્યા છે. I was like, how did she get such good clothes? So she was like, આ બધા લોકોએ કર્યું છે અને they do it all. I'm like, why? First of all, are they sponsoring her and not me? Like, why? But then I realized, okay, there's a lot, you have to give and take.
Right.
That's how everything
Yeah.
works in life,
Yeah.
right? And then eventually I realized that when I went for the national competition, which was Miss Universe India, where 51 contestants hata, including the state winners and a wild card. I was a wild card winner. Itle, all of us had to sponsor ourselves. Or we find somebody individually, આપણે પોતે જઈને શોધવાનું, somebody. So then the moment I realized I had 1 month to prepare for all my outfits. And outfits is a huge thing, okay? It's not like child's play at all. So I was like, I'll buy everything because it's only a month. I won't have any time. Like, shit, I can't. It's 3 lakhs per outfit. 3 lakhs, that's a lot. And then I need per day, like at least 2 outfits. and it was a good 2 weeks no competition. So you can imagine how much.
બાપરે 50-60 lakhs around that if we go by the same number.
Yeah, if like તમે average લઈ લો તો એટલું તો થઈ જ જાય. અને a lot of the girls actually are committed to it and they spend that much, and then it obviously pays dividends. It's like investing, because then
course,
you eventually
yeah.
get the results. Hopefully you get
I'm
the
sure you're
results
minting
that
money right now.
yeah. Talking about, but I did not spend that much.
Right.
Fortunately for me, I
No, but when you said that it always pays back, right? So I immediately caught that you must be minting money right now. We'll talk about it.
eventually it does actually. And atyare it might be slow, it might be something that's just getting started.
Right.
I'm not being ungrateful. I'm very grateful for everything.
Right.
And there is a lot I'm getting my way, but it'll just grow. I know for a fact.
Yeah, it
I
must,
don't
it
want to
should.
sound cocky again, but
Yeah.
it's just a reality of how it works.
Right.
But going back to the thing ke kai rite main manage kar rahi hu. So I found sponsors for every single outfit. I had to travel to Bombay a lot કેમ કે અમદાવાદમાં એટલા બધા designers હજી નથી. Fortunately હવે વધી રહ્યા છે, but
Right.
I had to go to Bombay, do my fittings. They also asked for barter, like you have to shoot for us these many months later. So હજી મારે shoots અમુક બાકી બી છે that I have to do.
Right. ઋણ ચૂકવવાનું બાકી છે.
So I'm not paying by money, I'm paying by time. એવી
Right,
રીતે જોવા જઈએ
right.
તો.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough, and I'm very happy about it. Ki I managed it. I'm very proud to see.
Wow.
When I look back, I'm like, those outfits I managed myself.
Right. So
And
is there an ecosystem which puts you in touch with designers, or you just knock the doors where you felt
just knock
somebody
the
could
doors.
help? Wow.
You literally just knock.
And
the
you were
doors.
just 18 then.
I had turned 19 at the time. So I am a December born.
Not bad,
so I just
yaar.
turned 20. So at that time I had just turned 19 and I started doing all this. And so બહુ બધા લોકો ના પાડે. And it's disheartening કેમ કે પહેલા એ લોકો હા પાડે.
Right.
And then it's the time. I'm like, okay, are the designs ready? They're like, no. I'm like, you told me you're going to be giving me the designs. What am I supposed to do now?
Uh-huh.
But things eventually work out. That's just a rule of life. Everything falls into place. એટલે મેં ટેન્શન ના લીધું.
Right.
પેજન્ટ્રી એ પણ મને બહુ શીખવાડ્યું કે ટેન્શન નહીં લેવાનું, બધું થઈ જાય,
Right.
બધું થઈ જાય.
No, but wow, superb. At that age, doing all of this all by yourself means a lot, right? And I'm sure people who are watching this, please, please tell your children that this is possible. Somebody just did it, right? And I'm sure ये जो rejection છે, that's very disheartening at times. Sometimes you even feel કે યાર નથી કરવું આ, હવે કેટલા દરવાજાઓ ખટખટાઈશું. But as you said, if you love, or if you're in love with what you're doing, then those things are just process. કે આ તો કરવું જ પડશે. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, no, I'm a again, I'll diverge a little, but this is very important to mention કે I'm a huge fan of watching podcasts and everything. અને એમાં મેં જોયું હતું કે અમુક વાર લોકો કહેતા હોય છે કે મેં બહુ જ rejection face કર્યું છે લાઈફમાં. And I would think to myself, what if that happens to me? But I realized whenever I looked back at my story, and I obviously didn't do podcasts before, like this is my first one, or interviews even. હમણાં જ start થયું છે બધું. પણ people would ask me, કેમ કે you're so young. They would then ask me questions. So every time they would ask me, have you faced rejection? And my answer would always be no, I have not. मैं मानी લીધું કે I have not. And for that reason, I have actually never had to face, I mean, touch wood, catch. No, but touch wood. I have not had to face a lot of rejection ever. Because I accepted that as my reality. And I still accept that as my reality. That's just not some day, that's not a day that I'll have to see in this life.
Right. Wow. Are you spiritual, by the way?
Very recently, I would say I've become spiritual. And that's because, again, my dad. I'm a huge, I think my dad is my God. I don't think there is necessarily a figure out there. Of course, Badhana believes hoy, and I think it is wonderful that there is a figure that people have created. It keeps people in track. For me, that person, that figure is my dad. So, mane આખો વખત there's a value in repetition. તમે પણ જે રીતે મેન્શન કર્યું.
Yeah, the power
When
of
we
repetition,
read,
yes.
આપણે ગીતા વાંચીએ
Yes.
તો એમાં પણ you read it over and over. It's not like તમે એકવાર વાંચો.
Yeah.
You keep on reading it. And so that repetition he does for me. And so he keeps giving me small pieces of advice all the time. And it's not advice that's like તારે આ કરવાનું, તારે આમ કરવાનું. It's what did you see? What did you notice? What mistake did you make? Leaving it to you. What mistake did you make? You clarify that for yourself now. And that is what teaches you. Life is what teaches you. Books can never teach you. Yeah. That's why they say, atyare, a lot of people are noticing that university javano is very important, but more than that, it is to actually start working. ત્યારે તમને જઈને ખબર પડશે કે actually reality કેવી હોય છે. ટેક્સ્ટ બુક્સ જેવી જરાય નથી હોતી.
Right. Right. So how has life changed? So after you became Miss Universe India, I'm sure the life would have changed in a lot of ways. I also want to understand what is next. હવે શું દેખાય છે? કયા લાઈફમાં ચેન્જીસ આવે છે? કઈ ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટીઝ આવે છે? આઈ એમ શ્યોર એવું ઘણું બધું થતું હશે કે આ પણ કરી લો, આ પણ કરી લો, આ પણ છે, આ પણ છે. આ બધું શું હોય અને કેટલી બધી ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટીઝ ખુલતી હોય આપણે લોકોને કહીએ?
Miss Universe India or not, I would have gone for acting. Miss Universe India is a portal, mara mate, to reach people, period. I'm not using it as a mode to become someone or something. એ તો મારે પોતાના પેરલ પર કરવાનું છે. I have to take that responsibility for myself. I cannot be like, I'm Miss Universe India, so you have to cast me. It's on your skill.
એક perception હોય છે કે after winning the because there have been a lot of precedences, right? So એક perception હોય, but okay, go on.
હોય છે ના, you're right about that. અને benefits તો હોય જ છે because you've put that much effort in, so people recognize કે that person is hardworking. તમે જે રીતે કીધું ને કે it's all about how much work you put in, and so એક ખબર પડે when you've been a winner, it's clear. And you need that for somebody, you need commitment for like a good cast that you have. And so it's easier to choose like that, and also because they're comfortable in front of the camera, yada yada, all that.
There's one more thing.
Yes.
Right? It's because it becomes a great PR material.
Yeah.
That having Miss Universe and એમાં પણ I think competition હોતું હશે કે I was the first one to cast the Miss Universe. I was the first one to get Miss, because if she becomes big like Priyanka Chopra or let's say Aishwarya Rai, right? You always get to say I was the first one. Probably मतलब એ પણ angle હોતું હશે.
That's an interesting take, and I think hotu jhase, I'm sure.
It's a leverage, you should use it.
I will do whatever I can to be successful in what I want, and so I will leave no stone unturned. But yeah, my job is only to focus on my mehnat. બીજું બધું મારે જોવાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી. Focus પેલા horse ના, what is it called? The
Blinders.
Yeah, I need blinders. That's it.
So આવે છે offers હમણાં acting ની?
છે અમુક.
છે, okay.
I can't say too much yet, but yes, there are a few.
Right.
And it's very exciting.
From Bollywood?
Bollywood.
From
yeah.
Bollywood, wow.
It's very exciting because I've already lived that reality in my head. And so
Right.
to see it play out, it's very fun.
Wish you the luck for that.
Thank you so much.
And as I said, that I will be the first one to take her interview or to do a podcast with her. Once she becomes very big like Aishwarya Rai or Sushmita Sen, I will take this pride that I was the first one to do podcast. That's why I said this is a big one. Right, because it's not easy to become, as I said, to number one in anything at India level, right? So, yep, 100 on 100 for that. Right, so now acting is one of the things that you could do. I'm sure it's on the table. What else is on the table apart from acting?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm Gujarati, so business is something I'm definitely going to access as my reality. કેમકે બિઝનેસ એવી વસ્તુ છે કે તમને જે એકચ્યુઅલી મજા આવે ને તમે કરી શકો છો. And I think with recognition, you can, from Miss India, I can go to acting. From acting, I can go to business. એમ જોવા જઈએ તો બધું જ interlinked છે.
Right.
You just need to, it's all about being confident. It's all
Right.
about knowing કે તમે
Right.
શું કરી શકો છો.
Right.
I don't know હું શું કરીશ in business. If that's your next question,
Right.
I'm already telling you I don't know. But I
Right.
will.
No, for
eventually.
sure. I can already see you could become a very successful business person. Because the kind of clarity of thought that you have, and it all comes from practice and hard work that you've put in, right? It forms you as a person, right? So I'm sure it will definitely help, right? Whatever development that you've done for yourself, I think it will definitely help. Whether you do business or acting, it will all support you. Yeah. Beauty pageants have not only been about beauty recently, right? They've expanded to much more than just beauty. Right, you need to be sensible towards environment. You need to have your own thought process, your own narrative about how you look at the world order. They ask you questions about technology, about relationships, about whatnot. Right, so I want to know more about how that preparation worked. Of course, બીજું બધું costume ની બધાની આપણે વાત કરી. Intellect, any training, any preparation ક્યાંથી થાય?
Miss Universe is a role model. She's not a model. So she has responsibilities. She has to have that in her to be able to reach people.
એટલે આવું તમને કહેવામાં આવે when you participate.
ના એ તમારે પોતે
So
સમજી
you,
લેવું પડે.
yes, okay, so you understand, right?
Yeah.
But that is what it actually means, that it's a role
Yes.
model. It's not just a competition that somebody has
No.
won. Okay.
That's, of course, there are people out there who will also take it the other way, which is કે I have to look very pretty, I have to do this, I have to do that. તમે જો એ પાથમાં જશો ને તો તમે એ બહુ જલ્દી ખતમ થઈ જાય છે. It finishes very quickly. If you take on the longer path, if you take on the more, I don't know, one with more substance, then you can actually tackle a lot more and તમે આગળ બહુ જઈ શકશો in pageantry. Pageantry is, of course, it's about you, but it's a lot about people around you. So you start off with, તમે પહેલા અમદાવાદ, I'm from Ahmedabad, એટલે I would go for Miss Gujarat, Miss Universe Gujarat. And then, of course, I didn't go because I was a wild card winner, but usually, normal circumstance ની વાત કરીએ તો you'd go for Miss Gujarat, Miss Maharashtra, or whatever it is. And then, so you're representing that small group of people. And then it grows. So it's a representation. That is what it is. So atyare Miss Universe has allowed not just women by birth. Anyone who calls themselves a woman, does not matter their age, does not matter if they're married, if they have kids, if they're pregnant, they can be anything. They just need to be a woman and they have to have a mission. That's it.
Was it like this always, or has
No.
recently changed?
Recently. It's
Okay.
just been a couple of years since it has changed.
Right.
It has been a gradual change. Just like reality માં જેવી રીતે બધી વસ્તુ gradual જતી હોય,
Right.
એવી રીતે જ એ લોકો પહેલા were like the height criteria has been lessened. Now there is no criteria that you have to match. You just need to have that mission in your mind.
So what would be the average age of your contemporaries at international level?
At first, if I would go back years, if I'd go like maybe 20 years ago, then it would have been somewhere around 22, 23. But now it's just, there's really all ages. Yeah, I met so many mothers over there. So many people that were my mom's age as well. I think, if I'm not wrong, it was Korea. Yeah, it was Korea where they had a grandmother who had participated. She was 80. She was 80
don't tell
years
me.
old.
So
I'm
much,
serious.
eh?
I'm serious.
Uh-huh.
She was 80.
Wow.
And she actually went quite forward in the competition. She wasn't there at Miss Universe, but she was there at Miss Korea.
Right.
I actually made really good friends with Miss
Right.
Korea who was with me, but she told me about all these stories and I had
Right.
also watched it before I went for Miss Universe
Right.
because it became a huge news article and everything.
Right.
So it's incredible to see that it's not what we used to think it was. And we need that. Life ma જેવી રીતે બધી વસ્તુમાં there is evolution. Pageantry ma પણ there's evolution.
Right.
Technology ma પણ there's evolution. If evolution is just a language of life, that's all it
Right.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying it has become more inclusive now.
It definitely
People
has.
of all age group, no matter how you look,
Yeah.
your body type, whether you're married or not, whether you have
Yeah.
kids or not, everybody is,
Transgenders.
even transgenders, everybody is
Correct.
included.
Yeah.
Nice, superb. Great, yeah. I mean, I didn't know about this. I want to talk about the Ayodhya performance as well, right? So you played the character of Sita Mata at the first Ramlila that happened in Ayodhya Mandir. How was that experience? I'm sure it's a big responsibility as well as an opportunity.
Well, starting on the light note, I'm actually 1/4 Bihari, which is why I got to
Arre
go.
wah.
So I got to go to Bihar for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And it was an amazing experience. મેં જે વિચાર્યું હતું એવું જરાય નહોતું. It was very different in the best way possible. And I really enjoyed the entire event. કેમકે I have never done a proper theatrical play.
Right.
અને પહેલી વાર હું ત્યાં ગઈ હતી. I hadn't even done my dialogues. એ લોકોએ બસ on the spot, you have to go.
અચ્છા.
તમારા કાનમાં earpiece હોય. Everyone, now I'm revealing a little mini secret.
No, please.
They were asking me, ke, how did you remember all the dialogues when you hadn't done anything? આટલું બધું તું હિન્દી બોલી ગઈ, આટલું ફટાફટ અને એ બી આટલું શુદ્ધ કઈ રીતે કર્યું તે? તો મારા કાનમાં earpiece હતો, where they were saying the dialogue slowly. And I just had to do it impromptu. And I think it had મજા આવી. It was just so different. ખુલ્લામાં હતું. It was an open audience. And audience, there were around, I think, 50 people, but it was mainly for going on air. There were crores of people who were watching, which I didn't even know until I actually finished it, was giving the interviews, and I'm like, oh, aatla bada loko jove. Wow. And so I'm glad that people are actually tapping into this part because awareness bahut zaruri hai. Where we come from, the roots, to know where we come from, to know what our origins are, It is all of this. And I think that's why one of the reasons why they called me, and they also mentioned along with the advertising, Miss Universe India is coming, is because it tells the youngsters ki jo, that's why also pageantry is helpful. Because people are like, oh wow, I want to be like this person, and that person is doing this, so let me watch it. And so then that's how it grows. And so I was very happy that I got the chance to play Sita Mata. It's a huge honor. I'm very lucky.
And that was an official play, right? It was organized by the temple authority.
Yes.
Wow, and the first Ramlila that happened.
Yes.
Superb. Big opportunity as well as responsibility. And, as you rightly said, that it sets an example, right? And a good one, that somebody winning Miss Universe India, a title, coming and doing this role and reminding all of us where we come from, as you said, right? So, superb. Any dialogue that you remember?
I don't remember the dialogues. That's the thing. I had to
Right.
do it. They were just saying it was, I don't remember any dialogue because it was all impromptu. Yeah.
Right. And then after that, you went to Kashi, and I think
એ
age tour
બધું
હતો,
જ,
right?
ના,
બધું જ એક સાથે થયું.
હા, બધું જ eventually એક કરીને બધું કરવાનું હતું, but it was not connected. Yeah.
If somebody wants to make a career in modeling, right? I'm sure these are all different things: acting, pageantry, and modeling. These three are distinctive things, but they all align, right? If the person wants to. In your case, it started with pageantry, but if somebody wants to build a career in modeling, what would be your advice, and how does that career look like? કેટલીક opportunities છે, શું scope છે ઇન્ડિયામાં?
So અગર હું એકલું અમદાવાદ કે ગુજરાતની વાત કરું તો I feel like there are not many agencies. છે, પણ એટલા બધા official agencies નથી. એટલે you will have to work. I'm giving like very general advice
yeah.
here because
Yes.
I know when I
yeah.
wanted to, ત્યારે મને કશી જ નથી ખબર,
Right.
and there was no information out there, especially for Gujarat.
Right.
So you will have to work completely on your own, manage your expenses, everything by yourself.
Right.
એના benefits બી હોય છે કેમ કે when you work with brands and if you work with photographers who will suggest your name and everything, makeup artists, they prefer that because they don't have to, it's very difficult to talk to agents, if I put it lightly like that, especially if you're a newbie. Because they don't want to go through the hassle of પછી then બહુ બધા specifications હોય. When you're new, leverage it while you can. Once you become big enough કે તમે એવું વિચારી શકો કે I can be someone at India level કે હું બધે ઇન્ડિયામાં કામ કરું, એવી ટાઈપની મોડલ છું, તો then you can apply to agencies either in Delhi. If you're doing Delhi, then it's usually for makeup and it's for commercial photo shoots which pay really well, so you can make a really good career out of it. અને એમાં બહુ એજનું બાઉન્ડ્રી નથી હોતી, એટલે you can be older as well while you do it. અને if you go to Mumbai, people confuse that કેમ કે મુંબઈમાં usually acting થતું હોય છે. એટલે if you're into ads, if you're into movies, series, Netflix, એ બધું તમારે જો tackle કરવું હોય તો then you go to Mumbai અને ત્યાં એના agencies જુદા હોય. Of course modeling agencies બી હોય જ,
Right.
at least bigger than Ahmedabad.
Right.
So if you prefer Mumbai as a city, so you have to consider a lot of things. અને પછી when you think about agencies, you'd be like, okay, મારી friend આ agencyમાં છે તો I will go there because she's doing really well. No. You have to apply to agencies that work for you. You have to look at you just go through a profile. તમને ખબર પડી જશે કે do I match that kind of profile? If you do, then you'll do well. Because it's not like if you've signed with an agency, you're going to be a successful model. So many people
Right.
struggle after they've signed. Because
Right.
sign 3 years માટે હોય. તમે 3 years માટે sign કરીને, if you don't get work, individually you can't go get work.
Right.
If they don't give you work, you're going to be jobless like that.
Right.
So you have to be very mindful of what you select for you before you sign anything. Read the documents. Please. I cannot
Right.
emphasize more on this. Because લોકો વાંચતા જ નથી. They
Right.
don't read the documents.
Right.
And there are so many fine nuances to it.
Right.
જે તમે જો જોશો તો તમે વિચારશો કે આવું બી હોય.
Hmm.
તમને તો કહેશે કે yeah, it's all sorted. You
Yeah,
just need to
it's
sign
a
it.
standard document. બધા sign કરે છે. Why don't you also?
Don't do
Right.
that. Don't
No,
follow
but
the
very
shit.
important advice, I think. See, if you work for it, eventually you're going to get it. But read the document. Don't be in a hurry just because you're getting work.
Yeah. No matter how big they are.
Yeah.
They can say, okay, we are a big name. You cannot do this.
Right.
You can do it.
So you can
take
also
your
ask
time.
for changes in the clauses, right? Or
You
no?
can. Okay, see, that's also, oh God, I'm so glad you mentioned this because મને આ mention કરવું જ તું કશેક. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing in life is set in stone. તમે એવું વિચારશો કે ઓ આ તો કેટલા મોટા પ્રોડક્શનમાં છે. if you think you have it in you to ask for something, first of all, get yourself to that level कि તમે પૂછી શકો. તમે આંખમાં આંખ જોઈ શકો કોઈને and say, look in somebody's eye, get to that level where you can look at someone in their eye and say, I'm not okay with this. I need this to change. That day, go up to them. Before that, don't go to them. It's okay. It's okay to be below at a certain level, but you have to grow at some point. Yeah.
Who's your favorite model in India?
In India, she is an Indian, but she works outside. Her name is Avanti. So I think she is just amazing what she's done. Because she goes to all these international brands and she walks for them. She's obviously very tall because she's a runway model. But both the type na modeling hoy. She does a lot of runway modeling. So I really think she's very inspiring because she takes India's name forward.
Right. Do you think modeling thodu the pureness of the art form or the career has been diluted a little with the emergence of social media where everybody has become a model? Right. So, for example, brands earlier used to onboard only models and then they moved towards actors for ads. And now they're hiring influencers who look good, do well with the filters and stuff. And, they are the models now. So do you think it has been diluted a little or no?
I think modeling is modeling and influencers being influencers is a whole new career path that has opened up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think influencers ne aapne degrade karva joiye. Influencers are great in what they do. They have so much reach. They have so much power. We need to respect them. And we cannot just be stuck in olden times. We have to move forward with what's coming.
So we can say it is evolved rather than diluted.
Yeah.
Right.
So modeling is in its own place. Nothing has changed for that. Yeah.
Right. Who's your favorite beauty pageant from India?
A beauty queen that I look up to would be Sushmita Sen. And I look up to many women, but the reason why I say Sushmita Sen is because she, atyar sudhi, she still follows to her word that she had said when she had won Miss Universe. She had said that she loves children. She adopted children and she loves them like their own name because they are her own.
Right.
And so when you see people actually creating that in reality and then you look up to them, so that is how change is actually brought. That's how role models are called models. Of course, there are people who, happen to get the title, but then they don't stick to their word. That's unfortunate, but yeah, that's why I look up to her.
She has changed a lot of narratives, for Indian women. And she is an influencer in real sense. If you would get a chance to sit with her in a room, what would you ask her? What would you like to learn from her?
Wow. I have so many questions, but if I have to narrow it down, if I have to ask her one question, I would say ask her, what brings you peace? Because you have had so many little successes, so many feathers to your hat. You got everything you wanted, or that's what we think. Why? How? And what is it that brings you peace now? આ બધું જ તમને મળી ગયું. હવે શું? કેમકે look, in life we can say there is these materialistic things that we can get, but all of that has an end. The one thing that does not have an end is peace, and that is where you remain with yourself.
Right.
Yeah, so I would ask for that.
So peace is important for you.
Extremely. It's important for everybody.
Right. How do you get your peace? What's your peace?
I'm still figuring it out. But I think the reason why I'm able to stay composed in stressful situations, it wasn't how I was naturally. I was very panicky. બધી વસ્તુ આમ ચોડીને ચીકણું કરી નાખવાનું. That's how I was.
Right.
Now, eventually, I have gotten to that level where I can say, I'm able to tackle situations. It's because I know I can. Because I know I have the strength in me. When you develop trust not in others, in yourself, then you can say कि peace मळ्યું છે. I know I can sit back, relax and be like, I will figure it out. That I think to me is peace right now. It changes as you age. It changes as life proceeds, as you become wiser, as things become less important to you. They still might be important to me because I'm still a little younger. As I grow older, it kind of fades, and I know that is true. So I'm waiting for that to happen. I know life will look very beautiful at that time as well.
રાઈટ નો સર્ટેનલી અને આપણે જસ્ટ હમણાં અંદર વાત કરતા હતા કે આફ્ટર વિનિંગ ધ ટાઇટલ આઈ રિયલાઇઝ દેર ઇઝ સો મચ મોર ટુ ધીસ ઇઝ જસ્ટ ધ બિગિનિંગ right? For somebody, let's say 15-year-old Reha would have thought that that's the end state, or that's the achievement, or that's the destiny. But now it has become just a milestone, and there is a lot that you can achieve. So I want to get some light on that. That what is it that you can now achieve, and what are the new doors that have opened up for you?
The doors don't open up directly to okay, હવે તમે actress બની શકશો. It opens up doors in a way that you've not thought actually. I'll tell you how. It's બહારથી લોકોને લાગે કે it is obviously the superficial, but it actually in reality is your trust in yourself. I have gotten to this level, so I know I can do whatever next I want to. It doesn't have to be in modeling, acting. So many of the girls are actually doctors. So many of them are lawyers. It doesn't matter what career it is. It's to know that you have the strength.
Right.
That's all it tells you, nothing else.
So do opportunities come to you now, or you go chasing opportunities? How does it work?
I don't chase, I attract. No, I had to say that, but I do actually. It is true that I don't chase because I think if I chase after it, kitlu dodis pachi mari पण stamina character. The moment you say I know I can, it will come your way. The moment you say, open up your doors, just say कि મને કરવું છે. It's so funny કેમકે I didn't actually apply. I'm બધું કે આમ કરું તેમ કરું ભાગ દોડ આમ everything actually came to me. તમે કોઈ બી મને વસ્તુ પૂછશો, any milestone that I've had so far, everything has come my way. I don't know how, I don't know why, and I don't want to know why.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Because once you know, you tend to analyze and you spoil it. Right?
No need of doing that.
There's fun in mystery.
There is. There's magic in mystery.
Yeah, there's magic in mystery. Rhea, I want to pick your thoughts on women empowerment in India. If I just take your example, right, the kind of support, I wouldn't say freedom, but the kind of support that you had from your parents for, for doing what you wanted to, for doing what you love to do. 20 years back, 30 years back, this was not the scenario. Not every girl, used to have this kind of support. If you go back in time about 20, 30 years, which is 50 years from now, the lives of women were very different, right? We have come a long way from that place. And, this journey has been somewhat troublesome, somewhat full with struggles. But now I feel there is some improvement. But I want to get your thoughts on what is the current state of women empowerment in India? And are you happy with what it is?
There's a significant improvement. But because I participated in these pageants, I was able to actually speak with people firsthand, which we only see on screens. We only see the girls on screens and we're like, good life, they're doing what they want. Emna parents kitla supportive, they get these opportunities. But I was fortunate. I don't think a lot of people are. The people I've spoken with, they've fought their ways up. It's not, આપણને મને એવું લાગતું હતું કે કેટલું ઇઝી હશે, પણ ઇટ્સ એમની જોડે વાત કર્યા પછી જ ખબર પડે કે એકચ્યુઅલી રિયાલિટી તો કંઈક જુદી જ છે. So I think the ability in women to not fight, but to mark their presence, to say I can do something,
right,
that has gotten better. There's also an improvement in the parenting style, but that's only like ઉપર ના આપણે જોઈએ ને એ લોકો હજી જે huge population જે લોકો કંઈ બોલતા જ નથી, એ લોકોનો હજી પ્રોબ્લેમ ત્યાં છે જ. So we really need to work on it. We really need to show those people that are not visible to us outside. The ones that are shining, એ લોકોને સપોર્ટ મળ્યો છે, એ લોકોને આપણે જાણીએ છીએ. જે લોકો નથી આપણે જાણતા, they think, actually the issue here is that the people who we don't see, they think, oh, they're too high up there. એ લોકો તો કરે જ ને, એ લોકોની દીકરી તો કરે જ ને, કેમ કે એ લોકો મોટા છે, છોડો એમને. એવું ના હોય, આપણે પણ એ જ છીએ, એ પણ આપણે જ છીએ.
Right.
It's the understanding, it's the mindset that differentiates them from everybody else.
Right. No, very well said. એ જે ડિસ્ટિંક્શન લોકો પોતાના દિમાગમાં બનાવી લે છે, that they are inferior, somebody is superior, and hence they are able to do it. But even they were like you about 20 years back, right? And it's a change in mindset.
It's just the mindset.
Yeah.
કશું જ નથી.
Right.
It's so funny because, my dad, when he was brought up, it wasn't like he had a lot of privileges. The privilege that he had, there was one thing that let him shoot up and let my sister and I And then, of course, my mom also, she joined in the family. And then we're all living the life we are because of the fact that both of my parents, they had that mindset. Otherwise, nothing. The physical things are not what changed it. And because they had that mindset, they passed it on to us and we naturally have it. But it's difficult for some people who naturally have to bring it out by themselves.
If there's one thing that you would like to change about the current state of how women live in India, what would that be? Or a change that you would like to inspire?
I would like that women get more opportunities in different job sectors. I think atyare, if you look at cab drivers, if I tell you, acha hu atyare cab thi aayi ane marthi coffee dhodai ki or something like that, you're like, why didn't you tell him to, you say him without even thinking? That is the issue that I want to change. Why do we assume that certain jobs are only done by men? I think atyare change thai rohu chhe. I actually went to apne I don't know where it was, but ત્યાં બધા જ rickshaw drivers were women. I was like, કેટલું સારું કહેવાય યાર, આ તો મજા આવી ગઈ.
Right.
They were pink colored cabs and they were
Right.
just driving and I was like, this is great.
Right.
So yeah, equality is when you don't need to think
Specify the
and
gender.
you'd not assume.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. In a lot of fields, this is happening already, right? So, for example, in cricket, they don't say batsman anymore. They say batter. Right? In acting, they don't say actor and actress. They say actor in leading role, male, female. Right? An actor is an actor. Doesn't have to be male, female. Right? So that change has already started. Right? I would like to get your understanding of how women abroad, or let's say the participants, your contemporaries from different countries, when you went to the international stage, how they look at life and how we look at life, because you've had that exposure. A lot of people don't have it, right? What's the difference?
It's not that different. At the end of the day, they talk just like you. They think about problems are very similar to apna problems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it?
Very similar. It's like you'd almost think there is no differentiation. Let's just say that. We think ke ye log ko bahar na etle ye log ko, once you actually start, I think a lot of people have not traveled etle emne khayal nathi, but once you start traveling, once you start more than traveling, if you start living in a different country, you'll realize that actually they're just regular apna jiva loko. They're not any better or worse or this or that. They're none of that. They're the same. They're just people. Same.
What all countries have you been to?
Many countries. I don't count nahi kari shako. Both travel kari
Wow.
life ma, because I really enjoy.
Uh-huh.
I have to
So
say my
you're-
parents enjoyed it, which is why I went.
Right.
But yeah, many countries.
Right. You do solo trips?
No, never. I'm
Nahi?
scared. I don't know. I've never done it. But I want to try it out. Yeah.
Acha.
Much have it, I think.
Actually, I'm curious about the kind of questions that get asked, in pageantry. I've not seen all the clips, but some questions are very interesting. So I would like to know what questions were asked to you and what were the answers. If you can very quickly tell me the kind of questions that they ask.
They asked me at the national competition that if I could eat dinner with somebody, who would it be and why? And I said Ayodhya by Holkar, because she was my national costume inspiration. That was in the national competition, not the international one. So she was my national costume inspiration. And my advocacy, we all have to have an advocacy, we all have to stand for something, was called Work Ready with Rhea. So it's to give youngsters the ability to communicate what they truly love. કેમકે શું પ્રોબ્લેમ થતો હોય છે કે યંગસ્ટર્સને ખબર તો હોય છે કે મને શું કરવું છે, they may be very good at it as well, but they don't know how to communicate it. બહુ જ પ્રોબ્લેમ થાય છે, especially in India, I find. એટલે the ability to communicate is what can be brought. And Ahilyabai Holkar, 300 years ago, gave that to women at a time when feminism kasu hatu pan
Yeah, it did not exist. That term didn't, even the concept did not
it
exist.
just wasn't even a thing. And she created that. And atyare પણ એ લોકોની સાડી વેચાય છે, which is specifically she created those જે only women would produce. ઓછી મળે છે હવે, પણ she started that. She gave jobs 300 years ago. Imagine that.
Wow. And then at the international stage?
International stage, but there was no question asked because top 30
Oh,
was
of course. Yeah.
it's not there.
Right.
But there are interview rounds. And interview rounds ma it's very interesting because it's different every year how they structure.
If you can explain, if you can break it down for me, how does the journey work from, let's say within India, how do you win the Miss Universe India title? What are the stages, and then how does it work from up there in the international competition?
Right. So once you win, let's say you become Miss India, then you have to start working and practicing and polishing. So then tamari training shuru thai jaye. I started train. I only had a few days to train before I went.
It was just a few months, right? September, I think you won the title. November was the international.
Exactly.
Right?
So I barely, and once I had won, I had gone back to Ahmedabad. The training was in Delhi. So I was in Ahmedabad for a good 10 days. I was just waiting for it to start. And so then I eventually started, and it was hectic. I was living almost literally where the training was happening. Constant કશું વિચારવાનું કે ખાવાનું શું છે પીવાનું
શું
શું
હોય
છે.
training? શું શીખવાડે?
There is walk training because international standards pramane you have to match their level. They polish the way you speak, they polish the way you walk, they prepare you mentally of what you are going to be expecting to see. Fortunately for me, I had participated in 2 international pageants already.
As a teen.
So I was very familiar with how it works.
Right.
Itle Pella it was in Manila, then it was in Madrid, and then Mexico, MMM. So, I've traveled to all these places for my international pageants. So, I knew what to expect. On a Spanish speaking, that is a huge factor because English loko bole nahi. So, that they train you with, and then you go there. And of course, outfits, fitting, they test out hair and makeup on you. They tell you what suits you. And then when you go there, you're fully prepared. You know exactly kaya outfit jode kayu karvanu. And you're living with a roommate. And the room is so small. You have barely any space. And I had 10 pieces of luggage. Not exaggerating. I'm
Right.
serious.
And the roommate could be from any other country.
She could be from any. It's randomly selected.
Right.
I was with Norway.
Wow.
And luckily she was a sweetheart. She was such a genuine person. But yeah, the room is tiny. So you still have to kind of manage staying with them. They have 10 pieces of luggage as well. It gets difficult, but that's why it's called a competition. And eventually you have to, every single day, the competition goes on for a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks. How many rounds?
So, Emma, badush stage par na hoy.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of the things are
Right.
done. Actually, most of the things are what people don't see.
Right. It could be in rooms like this also.
Yeah,
Right.
just like this. Maybe there are visits that you have to. I went to Guadalajara, which is a different city altogether. Different girls went to different cities. And they had to. It looks like we're going out to do, maja, mauj, masti. But actually, shooting hoy છે બહુ બધું. Because what happens is when we're on the stage, વચ્ચે જ્યારે અમે ચેન્જ કરવા જઈએ ત્યારે જે સ્ક્રીન પર બધા વિડીયોઝ દેખાય, that is of what all we've done. So that's why they took us to different cities so that when the audience is watching, they have something to look at. So there's a lot of work that goes in. It's super fun. It's a lot of exhilarating fun. But mehnat peetli જ હોય છે. It almost feels like a high pressure chamber. જયાં તમને learnings, you just get learnings so
And it's
fast.
just you, or you would have a team?
I don't have a team there. I can't
So you
meet.
go there alone. There's
I go
nobody
there
from India.
all by myself.
Okay.
So,
But of course, they would be providing you support staff over there, right? For
There is support
dressing
staff.
up and stuff.
Yeah, no.
No?
Dressing up, you have to figure out. Patch her. Usually, there are corset dresses.
Right.
Badu tie karta badu jate samajhvu pade how to do it and everything. You can't rely on your roommate because you don't know if the roommate is going to be
Right.
okay
Friendly or
to
no.
help
Right.
you.
Right.
So you have to be very even the hair and makeup all by yourself.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there are 130 countries. So they cannot provide hair and
Right.
makeup to you all the time. Of course, there are particular shoots jena mate they provided to you because they needed to be of a particular standard.
No, but I was assuming that there would be an entourage traveling with you, supported by an agency from India or by the government. I mean, these are the assumptions that I had.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I would have also thought if I hadn't, done my research, if I hadn't, not even done my research, if I hadn't been a part of it, I wouldn't
Right.
have known. Once I went there, I found out. That's literally how I found out.
Right.
So, it wasn't easy. It's not meant to be easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So, couple of weeks of rounds, and then what happens? What's the final thing in the competition?
The last 3 days are the ones that people really keep an eye on because there's prelims. So, preliminary round hoy.
So, are there eliminations in between? in those
No.
rounds? Everybody goes through all the rounds.
So until the last day, there is no elimination.
Oh,
Unless if there is rule breaking. There were a couple of rule breaks that had happened. I mean, there's 130 countries, so you can expect something
Yeah.
or the other to go wrong. There are some countries who back out because it's too difficult for them.
acha.
There are some countries who may have health there may be
issues,
some
right.
countries that may have health issues. So એવા બધા નાના મોટા વસ્તુ થતા રહે અને eventually I think there were around 125 countries who were on the final stage. And then from the final stage, there are eliminations that are done. There, I had come to the top 30 of the competition. And so depending on which elimination round you're going till, you have to do different rounds. So there is swimsuit round, there's national costume. National costume everybody has to do.
Right.
Evening gown is for the ones that proceed forward. And then eventually there's question and answer round.
Right.
Yeah.
The Golden Bird was the national costume round
That's
that happened
correct.
in Mexico.
That happened on the preliminary
Right.
competition day. So that's like on the third last day of the entire
Right.
Miss Universe.
So within those last few days of the competition, you traveled to different places?
I just went to one place,
Okay.
which was Guadalajara,
Right.
Other
Which is
than that-
Mexico.
which was in Mexico. But
The town of El Chapo.
yeah, so but we didn't actually get to go out
Right.
a lot because there were so many countries. So the arrangements for everybody to go out, we just had a couple of dinners that we could go out of the hotel. The hotel was the only place we were for
Right.
the entire duration of the competition.
Right.
Apart from the travel to the city and the 2 dinners that we went for.
Right. Otherwise, I was going to ask, how safe is it? Because we have heard stories. Of course, I've never been to South America or Latin America, but I've heard stories that it's very scary. Some people went there. The Narcos series, the researchers went there and they were killed in some places. So Mexico, that way, I have a assumption that it's not very safe. So I just wanted to ask, but so if you've traveled, do let me know. That's
No, yeah.
I have
The only thing is we didn't really get to go out much. Maybe for that reason. I don't know the necessary reason that they didn't
Right.
make us go out so much. A lot of countries were questioning that as well. They were like, why don't we go out as much? And because that used to happen
Yeah.
in the previous years.
Yeah.
They used to take them out for
Yeah.
outings and things.
Right. Could be a reason because it's not a normal town for sure. That at least that much I know.
I'd have no clue, honestly.
What is that one question that people usually don't ask you in the interviews, but you really want them to ask? એ શું વસ્તુ જે લોકો પૂછતા નથી?
એ લોકો પોલિટિક્સના બારેમાં ના પૂછે. Not that I want them to ask. બીજી બધી વસ્તુ they ask everything under the sun. There's
Right.
nothing they leave behind. પહેલા they used to ask very pageant oriented questions.
Right.
But now they've opened up to a lot of things except politics. They leave that out because it gets a little challenging to then mediate that.
Right.
It becomes a little difficult. So they stay clear from that.
Right. But you would be okay if somebody asks you a question or two about politics.
I like to steer clear from that a little bit, at least for now, before I
Right.
can curate myself completely.
Right. What do you think about the current leadership of India in general?
Good question.
It's not politics. It's the administration.
No,
India.
100%. I
Yeah.
think it is incredible because look at where we're headed. Everything that we look around, the amount of growth that we've had in the last decade is incredible. Is nothing short of huge changes. Of course, there are nuances that we have to look at. But overall, if we go to see, I think India is now global. We can now officially say that we can stand shoulder to shoulder with anybody outside. Why is that? Because of the education system, because of all the people getting the exposure. And the exposure is only possible if we as a community, the government, everybody comes together and makes that possible. So 100% growth is there, 100%.
No, for sure. In fact, for the first time I went to Scandinavia, and when I was in Norway, and whichever place you go, you see a lot of Indians traveling even to the remotest places. The kind of exposure that Indians are now getting, right? And they're opening up to the world. And as you said, now we can walk shoulder to shoulder with anybody, right? Nobody looks at us as a country which is poor or inferior, right? They look at us with a lot of respect, is what I felt, at least in the last 10-15 years, that has changed.
આપણે કન્ટ્રી આખું વર્લ્ડ આમ જોવા જઈએ તો બધે રૂલ કરી રહ્યા છે. નો સિરિયસલી,
Yes.
કેમ કે કોઈ બી લુક એટ એની હેડ્સ ઓફ એનીવેર, ગૂગલ
Yeah.
and anywhere, just I mentioned Google right now, but I mean overall.
Google, Microsoft, World Bank, IMF, Mastercard, Pepsi,
Wow, you've memorized the entire list.
Twitter earlier, but now that person is thrown out. But yeah,
It's incredible.
Yes.
That is India.
yeah,
So if anyone asks you what is India, I know what to say now. Those.
right. So one question from the female members of my team: what's your skincare routine? Now we'll go to some fun questions before we end this conversation. Right. So what's your skincare routine, or the skincare routine that you would recommend that anybody can follow?
I work from inside out. એનો મતલબ છે કે I eat my skincare.
Wow.
Not from
Wow.
bottles of skincare. No. No, I eat
No, that's
clean
how it
food.
should be. Superb. Go on, please.
So I eat vegan food, which makes it a whole lot easier for me to make sure that I'm eating healthy.
Yeah.
When I go out, I just tell people I'm vegan, I can't eat that, and so I'm able to narrow my food down to what comes from nature.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me very picky, or that doesn't make me what's the word, snobbish,
Finicky. Yeah.
It doesn't make me any of that. It
Yeah.
just makes me somebody who worships my body. I am somebody who really worships, because that's my work. I think even if it's not a part of your work, if your body is not something that you need to show to people, you should still worship it. It's sacred.
Yeah.
જે રીતે ભગવાનને તમે કંઈ બી ના ધરાઈ શકો,
Right.
એ રીતે તમે તમારા બોડીને બી કંઈ ના ધરાઈ શકો. Random.
Right.
So make sure that whatever you eat is clean. But skincare, I don't do too much. I used to apply a lot of things on my face. Ke aa lagai do, te lagai do. It'll be even better. Little is always better.
Inside out is the right approach.
Inside out. Always.
Yeah. That's where it starts. That's where it ends.
Yes. 100%.
Right. Pageantry is a lot about how you carry yourself. You know, the body language is a big part of it, and I'm sure body language helps everyone. Right. If implemented rightly, so. I can see that, you know, your posture and, you know, the way you are doing your hand gestures, it's very well articulated. So articulation is not just with the words, but the way you carry your words with your body, right? So if you can give some tips on body language.
Before I go to the tips, I think it's important to first know why. That's what youngsters need to, these days they want the why, only then will they do it. So first I'll tell them that when you do your body language a certain way, when you're very finessed in that sector, you don't only gain respect for yourself, people gain respect for you. And so then when you do that, you automatically position yourself as a higher status person. And that lets you feel very confident inside you. And then anything that you're tackling, I'm not talking about pageantry only, I'm talking about anything in life. You're a business person, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you will gain respect for yourself. That's what matters. And so now how? If you make it important for you, it will happen. Because there are many small things. You know, you have to keep your back straight. You have to, this is a hand gesture for you to concentrate. I can see that there. This is for you to concentrate. This is for you to get a lot of your mind's thoughts out to present it, to center yourself. Then what else can I tell you? Then I think maintaining eye contact, very important to position yourself in a higher power position. And one last thing that I'll say, which a lot of people don't teach, is just be happy. Just be content in yourself.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah. Because what I used to do was very wrong, was that I used to think, okay, I have to be very passionate, I have to like do this, and I have to talk to you like that, and I will only keep a certain accent and I'll speak
Right.
like.
Then you be very conscious.
Then you're not yourself anymore.
Yeah.
You're literally just becoming the herd.
Yeah.
People don't want to see the herd, they want to see you. So be you. Of course, carry yourself with respect, but also be yourself. Don't forget that, ever.
Right. It's interesting how you started this answer, right? Youngsters these days want to know the why first and then the how. But then whom am I talking to? You're just 20, right? And you're talking about youngsters like this. And as you said that in your mind you're much elder because, you know, you hang out with seniors more. But to be honest, I'm really surprised that I'm having this kind of conversation with somebody this young. Right? The way your answers are articulated, the way you have clarity and depth, right, across different matters, right? I think we touched upon so many topics throughout this conversation, right, from spirituality to struggles, to work, to aspirations to even politics and to even leadership and empowerment, whatnot. For everything, I think the kind of answers that you have and the way you articulate, hats off, superb. Yeah, I really don't feel like I'm having this conversation with 20-year-old, and I really wish that I could have this kind of conversations with every 20-year-old.
You know, the only difference between somebody who can and who cannot
Yeah,
is if you need it that bad. I needed it.
yeah,
I was like, एना वगर हूँ जी भी नहीं शकूँ. I wasn't always like this. You know, I was born like this or kinhanpan
Yeah.
thi. I was actually very underconfident. I
Right.
didn't know what to do. I was scared. I would talk very fast. I'm still working on that, but
Right.
it's important. It's like, hi.
right. If you get one superhero like power, what would you do?
Ooh,
Yeah.
so cool. I would like to become, I would like to, there are people that I look up to, and I want to wake up whenever I want randomly as them, and
Wow.
then live a day in their life.
Okay, who are those people? If you can name a few.
Okay. Damn. First, my dad, because of
Okay.
course I watch him so closely, but I because I see him in a father figure, like I see him, I want to see life as he is, because he shows us how life is, and it makes it look so easy. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think so. And I don't think a day in his life would be all rainbows and
Yeah.
cotton candy. It would not be like that. It would be a lot of hard work. And even though he's made it to where he has, he still has to maintain that. He still has
Yeah.
to take it one up.
Yeah.
Everybody, it doesn't matter who they
For
are,
everyone.
one up.
Goes through, yeah.
And where he is right now, for me, because I said I look up to him so much, for him to one up from where he is, I want to experience that in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. Who else?
Who else? I would want to wake up as Deepika Padukone. Oh, she is my idol. She is so incredible with her
Yeah.
art. She's a very versatile actor. And of course, because I want to eventually get into the stream of acting,
Right.
to see her, to see somebody like her create that art, incredible.
Last question. Would you do Gujarati film if offered?
Wow. I never thought about it actually. વિચાર્યું જ નથી પણ જો ગુજરાતી મૂવી આવે તો કેમ નહીં?
Wow, superb.
ગુજરાતી છું તો
Yeah.
yeah.
And, Isha Kansara, who is one of the leading actresses of Gujarati cinema, she said this, that Bollywood is not the end goal for anyone anymore now. People are very happy, even in the regional or even in theaters. People are very happy with what they do. If they love the art and if they get to, completely experience it, then I think, people are content. And Gujarati movies are also now, bettering. I mean, the kind of movies, the kind of subjects that they're touching upon, phenomenal.
It is. And I think age karvanu છે આપણે. We have to, obviously, what we are, we have to take that forward.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a huge believer of also when people say, I'm going to go out of India and live there. I'm like, and when will you come back? When will you come back and
Right.
maybe where you have gained whatever you have.
Yeah.
તમે જ્યાંથી શીખ્યા છો, ત્યાં પાછા એને when will you give back?
Right.
That is my question always. So always આપણે જે હોઈએ એને સૌથી વધારે પ્રાઇડથી આપણે લેવું પડે.
Great, superb. All right, Rhea, this has been an amazing conversation, very enriching. I think there is a lot to, learn from this conversation. Even for me, I'm going back with a lot of learnings, and I'm sure the youngsters would be super inspired, right, with everything that you have said. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and making this conversation so enriching. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really, really loved the way you conducted this. કેમ કે મને એવું feel થયું કે I was actually able to express myself in the truest way possible. I've never been this, like, I feel so good after speaking my heart. Thank you for all the questions, honestly. And you also had some really good pointers that are new to me. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.